witness the sickeningness that is called the punk-ass creepypastas.
Hello everybody, this here is your boy Punk-ass with episode 2 of Punk-ass Creepypastas. But for episode 2 today, I actually had the opportunity to work with YouTube user This Is My World as he reads second creepypasta. My second creepypasta, it's supposed to be a sequel to the movie Coraline, but taken from an adult perspective, which means there's a lot of adult themes, there's a lot of sexuality, and there's blood and gore. So, if you are under the age of 18, I suggest you turn around and not watch this video. Anywho, let's go to Mario Jones from This Is My World as he reads Return of the Beldam, a Coraline sequel.
All events in this creepypasta series are fictional, and any resemblance to real events is coincidental.
I had the pleasure of collaborating with Peter Punk-ass. We'll have a description somewhere around here. I'm going to leave a link, but it's going to be mainly in the descriptions. But you know, or somewhere around here. Haven't played with that link yet. But anyway, me and him collaborated. He liked it my Storytime Sundays. Even though I don't get that many views, I know it's going to attract somebody's attention. So, he wrote a story for me to read on his behalf. Alright, so, I haven't a clue as to how things got so bad in the first place. What was it when I went wrong? I'm beginning to think it was when I got engaged to Laura. I met her when I went to high school in northern Montana. At the time, we were so happy with each other, even though the world around us seemed to have it out for us. My ex-girlfriends were outraged, her exes were outraged, and both of our family members completely shunned us for eloping with one another. All this negativity was beginning to take a toll on us. At first, for the first time in years, I was completely unhappy. So our journey to elope took us to a small town called Ashland, Oregon. This is where everything began to change forever between the two of us. We moved to a complex called the Pink Palace. Now, if y'all remember in the movie Pink Palace, that's where all the things went down at Coraline. So let me continue. It was kind of nice from a distance. It looked like a nice dollhouse castle. Next to their complex sign was another that spoke of paranormal investigator who lived there. Coraline. Yeah, she made an appearance. Anyways, Laura and I moved into the bottom floor and we began to unpack our things, and everything was just fine for the longest time. And then suddenly out of nowhere, she began to snap and began one of her little fits and rages that almost caused me to kill her stupid ass. We were away from the negativity and people were prying in their way between us, and she still seems to start acting like a total pretty much an old total shit. Alright, so I have finally had enough of this madness and nonsense. I finally had enough, and we moved away from the stress and the bullshit, not to bring it home. I finally got fed up with her damn nonsense, and I told her to shut the fuck up. That night, I slept in the living room, so now I lay on the couch in this cold and nearly empty room, wondering where the hell I went wrong. The more I think about it, I should have left her and continued to remain oblivious to, sorry, I had to scroll down, oblivious to her corny gestures of love. I've been there. I really have. At this point, I became so eloped with anger that I was ready to pack my things and leave while not caring about homelessness. But all of this changed with the sound of a small piece of metal hitting the floor. The thing startled me, and I got up and turned the light on and find out what was it I heard. I flipped the switch and I looked around the room. Then I spotted it, the key to solving all my problems. At the time, I thought it was just a piece of junk until I spotted a small mouse running on the floor in the corner of the room. He managed to squeeze his way through the crack and the other side of this small door. Yeah, getting in. I was kind of curious as to what this was and where it went. I unlocked the door and I opened it to see a long tunnel that kind of looked like an air duct tubing covered in cobwebs and pieces of what looked like old children's toys. Something was telling me to enter the tunnel and make my way to the end. For some reason, it felt like it was my destiny. So I went in and made it to the end of the tunnel to find yet another door. I pushed it open and was very disappointed to see that it took me back to where I started in the first place. The living room. So I crawled out, got back on the couch. Suddenly, a smell hit my nose. It was familiar. It was very delicious smelling. I followed the scent to the kitchen where I spotted Laura in the kitchen, grilling what looked like a ribeye steak. Now that sounds good. I called out to her and asked her what was she doing cooking steaks at 1 in the morning. She turned around and looked at me. Something was a little off about her. Mainly her eyes. Laura had buttons for eyes. Why? You're just in time for your favorite dish, she said. I was pretty stunned at how Laura looked at this point. The button eyes were a bit disturbing, but she was dressed pretty much different than the Laura. Hell, shit. She was dressed hotter than her. She was standing there before me, seemed only to be wearing nothing but a cooking apron and some sexy red underwear. Her hair seemed to be remain the same, long, black. But relax, Connor. I'm your other fiance, she said. What are you talking about? I asked her. She continued to look at me with her button eyes and smiled, such a cute smile. All men have one. Most never meet them, but you're pretty lucky today, sweetheart. Besides, above all, I'm your better fiance. We haven't any reason to argue or fight about anything. I give you anything you want and more. She sat down at the table and began to tap her fingers onto the table. Before I could say anything, she sliced a plate of steak and shrimp plate of steak and shrimp in my direction. Next to it was a bottle of my favorite alcohol beverage, Smirnoff. That's my favorite beverage too. At this point, I didn't care how she looked. I was stuffing my face with food and wine coolers, and she was happy to serve me. That's a good woman. After I was finished, she pushed everything off the table and onto the floor and hopped on the table, her ass pointed in my direction. As your better fiance, she said, I can give you the better everything. Even let you do things to me your other one didn't like. She then shifted her red lace thong over to show me her asshole and gently fingered it for my viewing pleasure. Now, this is where things get a little rated adult. Alright, so if you're a kid, click off now. Alright, this is, well, my dick was hard and the Laura that I knew never wanted to experiment. I unzipped my part of my pants and drilled her ass for what felt like half an hour. I can go longer. And she seemed to enjoy every last bit of it. She later stopped, turned around, and swallowed the cum afterwards. It was probably the best sex I ever had since high school. This was the best I ever felt in a long ass time. I was full of food. I got to live out my long time fantasy of mine. I really enjoyed that, she said. Didn't you? I told her that I wanted that for forever. But my other wife would let me do it. It was the most exotic experience I've ever had. Well now, like I said, there is so much more I can give you. At that moment, 2 more women entered the room. Wait, not just 2 more women, my exes, Natasha and Tiffany. But they too had buttons for eyes. It kind of disturbed me a little bit, but then again, they wasn't arguing. If I'm good at making you feel like a man, Laura said, how about 3 of your best partners, all to make you feel loved? She was hinting at a foursome. I believe you remember your old friends, Natasha and Tiffany. I think it may spice up our sex life if they was to join us. Shit, hell yeah. And this little session was better than the last. I mean, we did everything that I could ever imagine. Multiple blowjobs, anal, face sitting, if you're into that. While I got blowjobs, they even let me watch as they performed on each other. To top it all off, I came inside Laura's ass and she had Tiffany and Natasha lick it up the floor after she oozed it out from inside of her. So, this was the best sex anybody could have ever had. After we were finished, we sat down next to each other on the couch, naked as all can be. She said, "You really like it? You like it here, Laura?" asked me. Don't you? I looked at her direction, her shiny black button eyes, and I told her I wish I could do this everywhere. "Well, honey, you can stay here forever if you like," she said. "But you have to do one thing." She handed me a gift box that was wrapped all nice. I opened it up to find 2 buttons, a sewing thread, and a sewing needle. "If you let me sew these buttons into your eyes," she said, "you can have all the crazy sex you could ever want. And your other family here will be happy about your decision to be with me." I don't know. It seemed like such a good offer. Maybe it was worth letting her sew the buttons into my eyes for eternal happiness. "I don't think so," a voice heard from crawling out the tunnel. A woman with blue hair, a yellow coat came crawling out with a machete, and it was ready to fight. Behind her was the original Laura.
Oh.
"What the hell are you doing?" she said. She yelled at me. Pretty much said any yell, women just don't talk nowadays when they're upset. "It's you again." As if he'd never met his original. No, wait. Oh, my bad, got ahead of myself. "Says you again," yelled Button Laura. "Have you come back to attempt to kill me again?" With an angry face, the blue-haired girl propped the machete on her shoulder and said, "Yes," the blue-haired girl said, "and I also came to cover this girl's fiance also." "You better let him go. I don't know how to stop you. I know how to stop you, remember?" I stood there and told the original Lord that I was fed up with how she was treating me and how I lost everything important and beloved to me over her. She was shocked at what I said. She was shocked at what I had just told her. "Sorry," the blue-haired girl said, "but I can't let you stay here. The other fiancé will eat you alive and then be on the hunt for more desperate souls like yourself." Suddenly, button-eyed Laura began to change shape. She became really tall, kind of pale looking, and now she was becoming a creature of nightmares. Before I myself could get up and run, I was beginning to be held down by Tiffany and Natasha, while the other Laura and the blue-haired girl began to fight. The other Natasha and Tiffany also began to take a scary, disturbing forms as well. The skin began to change blue and pink. The teeth began to grow sharp and jagged. It looked like the blue-haired girl was right. I was about to become their meal. The other Laura had knocked down the blue-haired girl, and the original Laura had made her way to me. She swung her hand back and began to change shape. It started to become claws. She used her claw to tear into my stomach and pull out my intestines. Oh! Laura was screaming her head off at the sight of me dying. The floor below us began to drop and turn into what looked like a metal spider web. Remember that movie? At this point, I saw Laura and the blue-haired girl leave out the little door and left me behind. Yeah. Damn. I was later thrown into a room behind a mirror, bleeding and slowly, with her smiling as she watched me bleed with my organs falling out. She said, "We could have had the best time together, but I smell blood, and now I have to eat you. It's for survival purposes." The end. Hope you enjoy it. You know, sorry I stumbled a little bit into the words. I kind of got into it myself. So, check out Peter Punk Ass channel, because I'm going to post it on there as well. And be sure to check out this story and the 3 that are coming. So, I am W. This is my world. And peace.